Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. Jack Daniel's number 7, not old number 7, just number 7. The green label with the different lettering and the different design and the different color. All right. Sold apparently in 5 states. Now some people claim it's in their state as well. I don't know. People that are outside the 5 states. It's not in Louisiana, I know that much. Let's see, they show the old still house. Ingredients: corn, rye, and barley malt, of course, water. Show some gold medals between 1904 and 1981. So it's a whole different label than the the old number 7, sour mash, and they show the medals on the front. So it's an interesting thing if you can find it. Picture of Jack Daniel on the back. And we're going to put this up against Evan Williams Black Label, the common Evan Williams. Get some water here. Already drank the coffee. Yeah, it's cold here. We don't really have much of a fall. We have summer and winter, basically, in Louisiana. At least in southeastern Louisiana. Now, I know up around Shreveport, Monroe, North Louisiana, they have a continental climate. So the humid continental. So they'll have very bitter winters with blizzards. You might remember I think it was the 1999 Independence Bowl football game where they had the blizzard during the game. And the snow just kept piling up. But we never get anything like that here. And they have those seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. Here we have winter, and then summer, and then summer, and then winter, basically. I mean, there may be a handful of days that will qualify as autumn and spring, but really, last week it was up to 90, a few days in the 90s, and then it just dropped to cold, straight into cold. And now the dampness is setting in. I can feel it. And that's what makes it feel so much colder. Might be 47, but it feels much colder with that miserable dampness. Anyway, for something to warm the palate, we'll look at these. The appearance, it's gold amber. Now, just like with the Jack Daniel's number 7, the black label, old number 7, the black label, the common Jack Daniel's that everybody sees on television, movies, in every liquor store on the planet. The Evan Williams, which you might see on television, you might see ads. I've noticed ads for Major League Baseball games and at the stadium. The banners. Every liquor store would probably have Evan Williams, I think. But I wasn't able to tell them apart, really, the Jack Daniel's and the Evan Williams. I couldn't. I said, so if I can't tell them apart, and they're so similar, it's almost like Evan Williams was created, and it probably was created in 1955 to be a mimic of Jack Daniel's. Then why pay $10 more for Jack Daniel's, right? I mean, you're getting the same, essentially the same thing for $10 less. And I would assume that the Evan Williams isn't going to taste much different than the green label of Jack Daniel's, because I don't see where the green label Jack Daniel's, the number 7, is remarkably different from the black label. You can buy the green label at the distillery in Tennessee with all the other Jack Daniel's brands, essentially. Now they'll say it's a dry county, you can't buy liquor there. But there it is. They're selling it. You can buy it. And somebody told me, oh, well, you can just buy a bottle and it happens to have liquor in it. Well, that's okay. It's a gift package. It was the same price as, from what I could see, as maybe a slightly elevated price because it's a gift store. You know how that goes. But it's the same like thing as a liquor store. I mean, you could just buy Jack Daniel's products. So this business about it's a dry county. Well, I guess you got to go there to buy it. But it's free parking, and you could just go right in and buy it. It might be a hassle. You don't have to pay for a tour to go into the gift store and buy stuff. And then I saw they had this place down the street, beer. They sold beer. Okay, so they sell beer. So somebody, I think it was described as semi-dry, the county. So I don't know. Who cares? All right, I know one thing. It's remote. I mean, to go to the Jack Daniel's distillery is a pain in the car, a pain in the rear end. I mean, you got to go up the interstate and then across. From here, you got to go across to Huntsville, Alabama, then up this highway, which is a 4-lane, but there's our, stoplights. And then there's this little 2-lane state highway, goes way out. There's a little sign, Jack Daniel's Distillery. And then you got to get off on this other, even smaller highway that goes way out to this little town, which is basically Lynchburg. It's basically Jack Daniel's Distillery with whatever built up around it. It's basically, from what I could tell, their only industry aside from farming. It's fine, I'm not saying that as a put down. I'm just saying it's remote. It's not like right off the road. Heaven Hill is right off the parkway. In Kentucky, they have parkways more than interstate highways, parkways. But you can't really see the distillery, Heaven Hill. They'll take you to the Heaven Hill experience. It's sort of like a showcase thing where you can look at they'll tell you about their operations. And then you got to pay money to let them tell you about. Or you can go a mile or two away, right off the parkway, and get off at Bardstown's. I'm talking about Bardstown. You can go to Barton Distillery. It's free. You got to check in. They check your license plate, whatever. But it doesn't cost any money. And then you stop at the guardhouse. They check your stuff, and then you sign in. You got to sign in, and then you go park. And they take you all through the distillery itself and the barrel houses, and you can watch them unload the corn. So it's a lot better. And then the hospitality area and the gift shop, they let you try all kind of different stuff. So 2 different bourbons, and then they let you try that bourbon cream, similar to Bailey's bourbon cream. And then if you go northeast of there in Frankfort, Kentucky, to Buffalo Trace, also owned by the same people, it's free. And it's a very extensive tour. And then they let you try all kind of stuff, even more so maybe. So I would recommend it. It's right off the parkway. Well, Frankfort isn't right off the parkway, but there's a north-south highway that's pretty fast. You go down 127 north. It's pretty fast. And then you got to go through downtown Frankfort and go around. But it's right by the river. It's very pretty. It's worth going to. It's simple to get to. Okay, which is which? I don't think I'll be able to tell. I honestly do not think I'll be able to tell. But here we go. It smells like an aroma commonly associated with bourbon whiskey, right? Wood, char, that caramel candy, some vanilla, dried flowers, okay. Same thing that I just described, except not as sweet, I don't think. Let's see. I think perhaps the one there is sweeter, the first aroma. But it's so close. Now you might say, oh, you see, Evan Williams is 86 proof, Jack Daniel's is 80 proof, so how did they make it as a mimic? Well, hey, let's remember, up until 1987, Jack Daniel's was 90 proof. It was 90 proof for all those years. Then for whatever reason, it was dropped to 86 proof for about 8 years, and then it very quietly was dropped to 80 proof. So 30 years ago, they started to slowly lower the alcohol by volume. Why? I don't know. My guess was that their market research found that consumers preferred 80 proof over the stronger proof liquors. Because, you know, that's the common level these days, 80. But honestly, I really don't know why. That's just a guess. I think it's a good guess. But anyway, let's go with the taste. Oh, and the next taste challenge I'm going to try to do is against early times. And I think with early times, it'll be a little more noticeable. I think I'll be able to tell them apart. Okay, here we have a lot of corn. Oh boy, oh boy. And I just ate some Quaker grits with hog's head cheese in it earlier, and I put some Louisiana hot sauce and black pepper on it. So I had the white hominy grits, and now here I'm having yellow corn, which is ground up into like grits, right? And then they cook it. You can get yellow corn grits now. You can buy that. That's polenta. You can buy the polenta at some places. I know Mathern's has it, maybe Winn-Dixie. Walmart might. A lady came in the store from Czech Republic. No, Croatia. Croatia. She says, I want polenta. I feed it to my baby. I said, oh. Corn grits. So she bought the Bob's Red Mill bags of polenta so she could feed it to her baby. And I'm sure that baby's plump and strong now, toddler. Can break things with his hands. Corn over there. Wood over there. More corn, more wood. Not the same. I'm a little shocked. You know, China here, Japan here, Okinawa here. So now, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of charred wood over here with the corn. Oh yeah, I mean there is, but it's just that first initial rush. I didn't drink too much. The first initial rush is of that corn, and then the charred wood starts to come into play. Oh, and if you're curious, what liquor did I sip on yesterday? And it wasn't much, just a few ounces. You say, yeah, but maybe 13 ounces is a few. That's true. But I mean like 2 or 3 ounces, okay? That was the Pinnacle Gin. I'm trying to drink through that Pinnacle Gin. Well, you know what? I would recommend that Pinnacle Gin, and I have a video coming up to post. I recorded it days ago, but I always record stuff early just in case something happens. I can still have one to post, but that was pretty good stuff from merry old England. So lemony. Okay, back to the bourbon. You say, well, Tennessee whiskey as well. Yes, Tennessee whiskey, correct, right. A type of bourbon, no matter what they say at the distillery at Jack Daniel's. Yeah, it's just, there's corn, yeah, but it's mostly charred wood, you see. Same body, you know, medium bodied. They're finished pretty quick. They don't linger, you know. But I think I have to do a written review of one of the, I did a written review of the Evan Williams and the Evan Williams Green Label, which is gone now. I ran out of it and I'm not buying more. But I'm almost positive I did not do a written review of the Jack Daniel's Green Label on Proof 66. That's kind of like the beer advocate rate beer of liquor, Proof 66. Now they have whiskey.com. I quit that site. I mean, I didn't decertify my account or anything, but I'm not fooling with it. It's so user friendly. I said, man, this is like the most unuser friendly website I ever saw. I'm not going through all this navigational torment. I just deleted it from my favorites list. You know, Proof 66, go to the site, pick the type of liquor, whiskey, boom, bourbon, boom, Jack Daniel's Green Label, boom, there it is. Write the review, post it, it's done. Same thing with Beer Advocate Rate Beer. It's not all this convoluted searching. I remember Sipsters started up, and the guy wanted me. He's a friend of mine on Facebook, David Wagner. He wanted me to join it, but it was the same thing. It was almost like you spend all this time trying to get to the thing to navigate to set up the reviews. Like, bye-bye. And Maria Devon, who I used to talk to, she said the same thing. I can't navigate through this business. I said, I know, I'm not fooling with it. Got to make your website easy to use or people not going to use it. Now, the Beer and Me was easy to use, but no one used it. Except for me and a few other people. Well, you know, that whole concept there was flawed. He wanted to be the next beer advocate. But why? There's Beer Advocate, and there's Rate Beer, and now there's the Tap Into Your Beer, which I don't use, but people do that may be more popular than those two I just mentioned nowadays. Okay, so, but why would they want to be a third one? You know, why would people want to go to a third one? Well, guess what? They didn't. And so the guy that started it got discouraged and quit his own site. Now imagine that. Quit his own website. And then it got turned over to me, like, you run it. I said, I didn't want to run this. I just wanted to be part of it. It was like a little community. We talked about beer. It was like a little kind of a mini Facebook of beer. And they said, and you can pay the $70 a year to keep it going. I said, haha, I wouldn't pay 70 cents a year to keep it going. So it failed, you know. It was a good site too. It had a lot of different features that you didn't really see on the other two that you know, the Beer Advocate and Rate Beer, but just wasn't any market for it. It's like there was no market for the United States Football League. Good league, good players, good teams, interesting games, no interest. Don't you want to watch football in the spring? Most people said, no, I'm sick of football after January. I would rather watch something else or go do something. So, you know, then somebody said, let's start the XFL. Oh, no, let's not. But they did, and it lasted one whole season. How about that? All right, I'm going to call it. I think this is the Jack Daniels because it's so corn-oriented. Which one do I prefer? Honestly, and would I lie to you, baby? No, I wouldn't. I think I prefer this one to the right, the Evan Williams. Well, I think it's Evan Williams. Let's check now. It's time to reveal. I got it right. Now, sometimes I get it wrong, so I can't say. I got it wrong like 2 days ago. But you know that I said the green label isn't much different from the black. I didn't say it wasn't different. I said it just wasn't much different. Well, in this case, it was. It was very corny. And the Evan Williams is very charred. Hey, you know what? If I was buying whiskey, bourbon whiskey, and I have been known to do that. If I was buying bourbon whiskey, and I had two choices. This is a hypothesis, or this is it's a fulfillment of the hypothesis. If I was going to buy bourbon whiskey, let's say at Walmart because it's close to me, or Winn-Dixie or Mathern's, they're all less than 1 mile away. And I saw Jack Daniel's Green Label, which in Louisiana I would not see, or I saw Evan Williams Black Label, or let's say I went to Orange, Texas, to the liquor store in Orange, Texas. Okay, that's not but 3 hours away. I would buy the Evan Williams without hesitation. Why? Well, it's $10 cheaper. And I know it's still cheaper out there in Texas. I looked at those liquor prices in Texas when I was in Fort Stockton, Texas. I was looking at the liquor prices, which weren't that good, by the way. Although I think their taxes are low, so it kind of evens out. I would buy the Evan Williams 100 out of 100 opportunities every time because it's cheaper by $10 and it tastes better, actually. I think it tastes better than the Green Label. Is the Green Label Jack Daniels bad? No. It's certainly not a bad Tennessee whiskey. In fact, it's a enjoyable, well-made, good, interesting, and rather unique. It is unique, a unique Tennessee whiskey. No. But so is Evan Williams. It's a very good bourbon whiskey, and it's $10 cheaper than Jack Daniels. So why, oh why, oh why would I ever dream of paying $10 more? And that's what I would tell Senator Geary. I would say, now the price for Evan Williams is about $13 a bottle. Is that right? That's right. So why would I ever consider paying more than that, Senator? Now, he might intend to squeeze me. He might despise my charade, but it wouldn't matter because I'm not paying more. I don't care if he hates me and my whole family, but never think this applies to my family, Senator. Anyway, that's it. Clear cut winner today. Evan Williams. Now I'm saying it live on the internet. This will go viral, I'm sure. I have 3 people watching at this moment, but probably by tonight, it'll be 300,000-400,000 people. Maybe not. But anyway, I'm saying it right here live on the internet. Evan Williams Black Label defeats Jack Daniels No. 7, the Green Label. Now, you might find that shocking. You may not even care. But that's what I find. Now, I have to go away because I have to go write the written review for the Green Label, the old No. 7, the No. 7. Then I might try to do a beer review of the Guinness. This will be in a few hours, 2 or 3 hours, more like 3 hours away. The Guinness Antwerpen Stout. Oh, the one that they started sending off to Belgium in 1944. Now I'm curious. Here's the curiosity here that I don't think anybody's thought about. But it can't be, it's got to be the second option. Did they start exporting it to Belgium in the early part of 1944 from Ireland to Belgium? Now remember, Belgium was German occupied in 1944 until later in the year, right? I know that Ireland, the Irish Republic, had very friendly. Now they don't really like to talk about this these days. Very friendly relations with National Socialist Germany, Hitler's Germany. They were very friendly towards each other. And okay, so Ireland and Guinness would have had no issue exporting their ale, their stout ales, porter ales, their stouts to Germany or German-occupied Europe. Okay. The question is, how would that have gotten to Belgium? Because there was the British blockade. And I know by 1944, that blockade was, and the American blockade as well, British and American blockade. I know that it was extremely strict, tight, tight, tight. So I can't imagine that the stout could have gotten through. So it must have been that after the American and British Commonwealth forces had cleared the Germans out of Antwerp, you know, that's on the coast, that they started exporting it to Antwerp. And the independent Belgium, you know, the self-governing part of Belgium by that time. Because remember, by the end of 1944, the Germans only controlled little eastern edges of Belgium. Now, I know they made their great offensive, the attempt to capture Antwerp, but they only made it halfway there, and that failed. And then the whole German military machine collapsed from December. I'm sorry, from January 1945 till May, you know. But I'm just curious about, I would like to find out, and I don't think I will, when exactly was that Guinness 8% exported to Belgium? When exactly in 1944? Because that's a curious year, I think. Strange, right? 1944, like, it's very peculiar. John Anile says, good morning, Ron. Good morning, John Anile. I'm heading out of here now, but I'm going to go write the written review. And so stay tuned, folks, because the plan, in 2 days, it might be bad weather that morning, rain, cold. And if it's really bad weather, I'm not going to go to the game that night. I wanted to go see Sam Houston State at Southeastern Louisiana. Big showdown, because if Southeastern wins, then they'll be right in line to keep winning and get either a guaranteed bid if they win the conference, which is unlikely, but certainly an at-large bid to the NCAA Division I FCS playoffs, which they've been to a few times now in the last few years. Football playoffs. They've been to the NCAA regional playoffs. In baseball, they've been kind of regularly going to that now lately. Hadn't won it, but been going. Anyway, but I'm not going to sit out there and just be miserable watching the game, but I sure want to go. I can tolerate a lot of cold and stuff just to see it, though. Anyway, all right, so off to write the written review, people. Thanks for watching this video review. Video taste challenge. Dawn Busters. Yeah, there's a slight little blue starting to show up. If this wasn't a daylight savings time situation, it'd be daylight by now, because it really is only 5:30 a.m. in real time. We got this pretend daylight savings time, which some states like Arizona intelligently, in my opinion, don't participate in daylight savings time. All right, thank you, folks.